crafty friends. Today is the third Friday of the month, and so I am back with another video that is part of a collaboration with the Crafty Bunch. And today we are working from Make It From Your Heart Volume 6, and we are working on this grid pattern here. And so today I'm going to be doing a grid pattern. I love boxes and squares, and so this layout is really my style. You can see that I'm going to need to select 4 pattern papers or cardstocks to make the squares, and so I'm going to be selecting those from the Halloween Spells Designer Series papers from Stampin' Up! So there's some really cute pattern papers here, and the sticker sheet, that's something new for Stampin' Up! And it's really great. But this also coordinates with the Potions and Spells stamp set and dies. However, I've used these on 2 layouts already, and so I probably won't be bringing these in today. I'm probably going to rely mostly on the sticker sheet, which will make this a quicker layout, right, if you're not stamping. So you can see the sticker sheet is full of fun things. It has borders and lots of word sentiments, and that big black box has a bunch of bats and stars. But I do need to select my papers for the little squares. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this green paper here that has the bubbles. I definitely want that one. I think it's really cute. Because it is Halloween, I'm going to definitely stick an orange in there. And then I like this magic black one here. All of these papers here are kind of the same size. And so I want to break that up a little bit, and I'm going to, and they're also busy. And so I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock. This is actually Royal from Close to My Heart, and I'm going to opt to use the lighter side of it. Off screen, I've cut out a bunch of 2x2 squares. I've also inked around the edges and coordinating colors. And now I'm ready to adhere them to an 11x11 square. What I do here is I start with the top left corner, and then I go to actually do the one underneath just because, you know, that's what my brain wanted to do. But then I was like, oh yeah, when I do stuff like this, I actually like to do the bottom one next. And then I'm going to do the middle one. And then the 2 that are on the sides of the middle, I can evenly space those. And so I just find that that works best when I'm doing a grid pattern. This does get pretty repetitive and is pretty simple though, and so I won't make you watch that. So here you can see I have those all adhered down, and then I've brought my pictures in. So the space for the picture, it actually, in the book, they use a 4x6 picture. But as you can see with the 2x2 squares and then the margins in between them, the picture is actually large, or the space is larger than 6 inches. And so I actually opted to print my picture as a 5x7, and then I didn't actually edit it before because I could see that there was a bunch I could chop off on the right side, and so that is what I opted to do. I don't know if any of you guys have this pencil. This is from my stash from like 25 years ago, but it is a colored pencil that's kind of like a waxy colored pencil, but you can, it's like photo safe. And so you can actually, like, I've made my little lines of like where to cut my picture, and then it actually just wipes right off the front of a picture. You can also write on the back of the picture, and it doesn't wipe off the back, but like if you wanted to put names and dates and things like that. Like I said, I don't really see them nowadays anymore, but it's a really nice tool to have when you need to make a mark on a photo, and then you just wipe it right off. I did notice they still have them on Amazon, and so I will go ahead and put the name of that in the description box below. Am I the only one that has ever heard of these, or have you guys used these before? Just curious. So here you can see that I actually printed 2 3x3 pictures on a 4x6 picture, and so I was able to cut those apart. I refer to the book. Here at the top layout, they actually have like 2 triangles. They have a triangle of elements on each side. The bottom one is a little simpler, and they actually just did a triangle of like embellishments between the 2 pages. So before I work on embellishments though, I decided to turn to my title. I want to use this Halloween sticker that's from the sticker sheet. And when I took it off the backer though, I noticed right away that with all the busy pattern paper, it was just getting, this Halloween sticker was getting lost. And so I like it much better on the backer. And so I decided to make a banner. I'm going to end up using the royal paper just because there's not any royal paper in that row of the squares, and so it will stick out on that. But before I do that, I decide to pull out some of the embellishments off the sticker sheet. And the first thing I want to use is the cute spider web, and so I decide what corner to put that in. And while I just play with embellishments, I thought I would just tell you a little bit about these pictures. This is from a few years ago. My family, sometimes we do like family or kid themed costumes, and then other times the kids just get to pick whatever they want, and there are a bunch of random things. But this particular year we decided to do family costumes, and so we played through a bunch of things that were that you see a lot, like Toy Story and different things like that. But we actually came up with the idea of to do night at the museum, and so we actually showed the movie to our kids, and they totally got behind it. And my daughter was Sacagawea, and then my son was the cowboy from that movie. My other son was Teddy Roosevelt. And just a funny story about that. Actually, before I tell you the story, this right here, the memories, I saw that later after I'd made the purple banner, and I was like, that's so perfect. It totally coordinates with my purple banner. And so I decided, instead of just Halloween, to have my title say Halloween Memories. So one of those memories, though, from this particular night, this was a trunk or treat, and my son was walking around in his Teddy Roosevelt outfit, and he was so shocked that people like knew who he was without him having to tell them. And so he's like, how does everyone know who I am? Because to him, like, he just learned about Teddy Roosevelt and didn't realize how like kind of iconic he is. And so it was just kind of funny that he was like, how does everyone know who I am? And then my youngest daughter is, I think his name's Dexter. He's the little, naughty monkey that is there. And so she was the little monkey. My husband was the night guard, and so he had a big like flashlight and was dressed up like that. And then I was actually Amelia Earhart, which is actually from the second night at the museum. Anyway, it was just a fun family costume thing that we did. But here I have found some bats to put on the paper. I am now putting some spell bottles on there. And then there's also the cute eek that I put down there at the bottom. So the sticker sheet has a bunch of word strips, and so I first pulled off eek and then realized I didn't want eek on there twice. And then I decided to play with the spooky season. I thought that was fitting. I actually like it there by the potion bottles, but here's a spoiler, I actually end up pulling that later and putting it right back where I had it. So I just needed some time to think about it, I guess. And then I start putting some stars around. I love stars as like a little filler. They're such a great little, embellishment. And so that's what I'm doing here, is I'm going to just scatter some stars in each little, cluster area. So if you're liking this video, I would sure appreciate it if you'd push the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to be a part of this community. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who loves to scrapbook. I occasionally make a card or two. Scrapbooking is definitely where my emphasis is, though. I love to just preserve memories and write the story and use the photographs. It's such a fun hobby. So this month in October, Stampin' Up! Actually has a really great deal to become a demonstrator. If you sign up, you pay $99, but you get $155 of product. And that's actually one thing I really love about being a demonstrator, is that there's discounts that you get every time you put an order in. I don't actually have a big clientele, but I get the discount for myself, and so that's really fun. So if you're interested, I'll put details in the description below. But back to the page, I'm kind of just looking at this right side, and I just feel like it looks so stark. And so I'm going to kind of leave that one alone for a minute, but it is kind of bothering me at this point. And so, like I said, though, I'm going to just stew on that for a little bit. But I move over here and decide the bats would be really cute. There were actually some really big like tire marks on the picture right there, and so I'm like, oh, we'll use the bat and cover some of those up. And so I decided that bat needed a little buddy, and so I add another one. And then down the road, I'm going to actually add a third one to just kind of round that out. So on the sticker sheet, there's also little spiders, and so I decided that it would be really cute to have a spider coming off of the web. And at first I was trying to kind of put it like on the picture so it was like connected, because I find that oftentimes I just like when things touch the picture instead of just floating out in space, but it didn't look quite right. And so I did end up putting it there, and then you can see that I drew a line to connect the web to the spider. And so that turned out pretty cute. Here's that third bat I was telling you about, and that's gonna kind of finish up that left page for me. I am still, though, not loving the right page. Like, I like it, but there's just something that it needs. And so I turned to these embellishments. I'd actually tried some little like shiny rhinestones from Close to My Heart, and I didn't like those. And so then I pulled these out. And they were just a little too sparkly for me. Like, I think I wanted some like little dots and the colors from the paper pack, and I didn't have anything like that. I decided to try to add some interest by doing a little dashed line, like some faux stitching around the white square. And so I do that, and I really like what that does to the page. But I feel like it's still missing something. And so I did at one point decide to maybe use a stamp, but I decided I didn't really like that. So I decided to do doodle dots. Katie Taylor often does these on her pages, and they actually remind me of DJ Inkers, if any of you guys remember that company too. But they're just little dots, and like little groups of 3 or 2, and so I just kind of scatter them about, and actually really like what they bring to the layout. It just kind of finished it up for me, and so it's pretty simple, but I end up liking it a lot. Don't forget, there'll be a link to a playlist where you can see the other ladies' take on this same sketch, and that will be down below in the description, as well as shopping links. Thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.